Hello, everybody. Candlelighting time is 4:09. This Shabbos, we're going to conclude the book of Breishis, and that's why it's called Shabbos Chazak. And the name of the portion is called Vayechi, and it tells us an amazing story. It tells us the story of how Joseph was told that his father Yaakov was very ill, and he realized that he's coming close to his final days in this world. So he took his two sons, Menashe and Ephraim, to receive the blessing from Yaakov before he passes away. And he positioned his children in such a way that Menashe, the older one, would be opposite Yaakov's right hand, and Ephraim, the younger one, would be opposite Yaakov's left hand, so that Yaakov could put his right hand on the older one and the left hand on Ephraim, the younger one, as he gives them their blessing. But when he did that, Yaakov crossed his hands and put his right hand on Ephraim, the younger one, and the left hand on Menashe, the older one. And Yosef says, "Father, no, put your right hand on Menashe. He's the older one." And Yaakov says, "I know, my son, I know. They will both be great, but Ephraim will be even greater, especially concerning his descendants." So the question is, we're dealing here with very great tzaddikim. Yaakov was the greatest of the patriarchs. Yosef was the greatest of his brothers. Their level of tzaddik was extremely high. And a tzaddik on that level doesn't do anything wrong. Everything he does is right. That means that when Yaakov wanted to put his right hand on Ephraim, which he did, that was the right thing to do. And Yosef, who wanted his father to put the right hand on Menashe, that was the right thing to do. So how do we understand that both things are right? So the Rebbe explains that we have to look at the meaning of the names. That Menashe represents the fact that Yosef was very sad that he was torn away from his father's house. He grew up in a wonderful setting of Yiddishkeit, surrounded by Yiddishkeit. His father spent time teaching him Torah. It was a wonderful experience, and he was thrown away from that experience into the land of Egypt, far away from his father's house. Ephraim focuses on the fact that he was very fruitful, meaning very successful in the land of Egypt, and he achieved many great things. And the Rebbe says these two things represent two ways how we can look at what life is all about for the Jewish people. We're now in exile. Originally, we were living in the land of Israel, where we had the Holy Temple. Because of sins that we committed, we were thrust out of the land of Israel. The temple was destroyed, and we were now almost 2,000 years roaming around from one country to the next in Golus, in exile. And of course, it's normal that we should long for the days that we could be back in the land of Israel, united with all the Jewish people together, and have the Holy Temple once again, and be surrounded by the beauty and the holiness of the Holy Temple, and serve God with joy and be removed from any type of persecution or suffering and pain. Another way we could look at things is the fact that we should be able to look at what we've achieved in exile. In any country we lived in, we built yeshivas, we built synagogues, we studied Torah, we fulfilled a lot of the commandments, we brought down godliness into every world, in every land that we lived. So obviously both of these things are right. But the fact that Yaakov did in fact put his right hand on Ephraim, which represents the achievements that we've done, that is what we have to really focus on, the positive and not so much on the negative. And we have to be proud of what we've achieved through learning Torah, through doing mitzvahs, raising our children, and giving them a very good Jewish education, that they should carry on the tradition of Yiddishkeit. And we have to try to do even more, that tomorrow should be better than today, so we could bring down so much more light into the world and would drive away the darkness of exile, and we will merit the coming of Mashiach, and that should be very, very soon. Have a very happy and meaningful Shabbos.